Tonight on KGW News, breaking the door, then making a run for it. The popular restaurant burglars hit twice in just a month.
It's so disheartening to having to keep dealing with it.
New tonight, a congresswoman shouted down by an overflow crowd.
And it feels like we're just being silenced.
Plus, a young driver learns his fate for a street racing crash that killed his teenage friend as the victim's parents try to get their message through.
You gotta be responsible. Don't put your families through this.
Then, what we're learning about how the city of Portland got scammed out of $6.7 million. And later,
the Pittsburgh Steelers select Derek Harmon.
Call it a dream come true for an Oregon Duck ready to make his mark on the NFL. Welcome to the news. I'm David Molko. First at 11, an emotional day in court as a 19-year-old was sent to prison for killing his best friend in a street racing crash. Alma McCarty spoke with the family of Cameron Lively about the plea deal and their hope this convinces others to reconsider dangerous driving. Alma?
Yeah, David, both Chris and Leslie Lively, surrounded by friends and loved ones in the courtroom, asked the judge this afternoon to consider a harsher sentence after losing their youngest son, their baby, who would have been turning 18 next week.
After 5 months behind bars, 19-year-old Juan Medina Dominguez went before a Multnomah County judge Thursday.
How do you wish to plead to the charge of a criminally negligent homicide?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Guilty to this and 2 other charges: reckless driving and unlawful street takeover, after the death of Cameron Lively last November.
Although Cameron chose to accept the invitation to attend said event, he did not choose to die on this particular date.
But Your Honor, I am here today to implore you to consider a harsher punishment than 40 months.
Cameron's mother and father said in court that they'd trusted Medina Dominguez wouldn't attend street takeovers with their son, wouldn't put him in harm's way.
I watched you that following Monday walk into arraignment with no remorse. You had the audacity to plead not guilty.
I don't think Juan should spend the rest of his life in jail. You know what? I can't imagine what it would be like with him having to live with the fact that he killed his best friend.
His defense attorney stating that his client is remorseful.
He's committed to doing whatever he can do moving forward from today and moving on the rest of his life to sharing this message of how much this type of behavior can change your life forever.
I would just like to apologize to everyone here for my actions that happened on the night of November 30th.
The judge ultimately adjusting the sentence slightly, 3 years and 3 months in prison, with credit for 3 of the months Medina Dominguez already spent in jail.
We did get a little bit of justice for Cam, not as much as I would have liked, but she did extend the sentence 2 months, so 2 months is better than nothing.
The district attorney acknowledging this loss and standing behind the plea offer presented to the judge.
It's never easy to figure out kind of where it's best to land on these. It is one that ultimately, with the facts and the law coming together, this we believe was the right result.
The Lively's say they won't stop fighting to keep their son's memory alive, as they remind others of the consequences of street takeovers.
He was literally our baby. He was the youngest of 4, and we're broken. We are so broken, and don't do that to your family.
The Lively spoke briefly about partnering with a nonprofit to try and bring a legal venue to Multnomah County so they can help take these street takeovers and other illegal events off of the streets and into a controlled, safer environment. David?
Yeah, because one life lost is one too many. Thanks, Alma. Well, listen to that. New tonight, a contentious town hall in Vancouver where hundreds of people showed up to ask Congresswoman Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez questions, but most of them didn't get in. The line for her town hall wrapping around the building. Inside, some of those in the audience were openly hostile throughout the meeting, shouting down the Democrat who sometimes doesn't vote with her caucus as she was asked a series of submitted questions. Here's one example.
Americans believe that only U.S. citizens should be determining the outcome of American elections. And any idea that I am standing to disenfranchise people is patently false. The first bill I introduced in this Congress.
All right, in that question, Glucin Perez was asked why she voted for the SAVE Act that would require proof of citizenship to register to vote. She argued it's about improving trust in the electoral process. Critics, you heard many there argue it disenfranchises even legal citizens who may not have access or easy access to required documents. And while some waved signs outside the windows, shame on you, that one says, others question the congresswoman about the Trump administration's deportations and relayed worries about all the federal cuts.
They're cutting funding for veterans, for health care, science, and we're very frustrated that she's not taken a stand and come out and made more powerful statements about what's happening.
She says she's a Democrat, but as a Democrat, she doesn't represent me.
Well, all in all, many in the crowd say they left frustrated, feeling like they didn't get answers to their questions. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines, a man is dead following a reported burglary in Clark County. This was around 9:45 last night on Northeast 79th Street in Vancouver. The caller reported a man came inside the house, then ran off. Deputies searched the area and found a person believed to be the suspect dead inside a vehicle. Evidence suggests they died by suicide. We're still working to get more information on this case. In Gresham, police need your help finding a missing 12-year-old. Genevieve Scott was last seen leaving her home on Southeast Hogan Road just after 4 this afternoon. Genevieve is 5'4" with blonde hair and was wearing a t-shirt, black shorts, and black Ugg boots at the time. If you have any information on her whereabouts, call Gresham Police's non-emergency line. And a heads up for Max riders. Starting this Sunday, TriMet crews will start 2 weeks worth of construction work along its blue line as part of its East Burnside Max improvement project. For the first week, expect shuttle buses between Gateway and Cleveland. Then a week later, bus service will be in place from East 172nd to Cleveland. Okay, 63 degrees in the Rose City on a day, Matt Zafino, where apparently we cracked 80 degrees.
We did. We had 81 degrees today for the third time this year. So it was one of the warmest days of the year so far. In fact, that 81 in Portland, the warmest temperature in all of Oregon. We were the hot spot, which doesn't happen all that much. So back in March, we had 2 80-degree days. In fact, it was a month ago. Today, we had our first 80-degree day of the year. And then we did it again on March 26th. Today, of course, we had one in April. Got to 79 earlier in the month. That doesn't count. So obviously that's a total of 3. You know what the record is through April 25th? 5. So already tied for second place. There have been several years where there have been 3 80-degree days up until this point of the year. I don't think we're going to get a 4th, but you never know. We could get close. So again, record territory, near record territory with the 80-degree temperatures and near record territory with 70-degree days here in the month of April. So far, we've had 10. I've got 3 more in the forecast through the end of the month, which would get us to that 13 number, which would tie 2016 for the most 70-degree days in the month of April. So it has been a warm month already. We still have some time to go. We're running 2, 4, 6 degrees warmer, even 9 degrees warmer now compared to this time last night because of the warmer temperatures that we had. Even the coast is warmer at the moment. We'll begin to get some cooling tomorrow. Temperatures dropping into the 70s, but still the upper 70s, still well above average. Coming up in a bit, David will talk about our chances for showers somewhere in Oregon this weekend.
Hey, but 77 feels like the sweet spot. Thanks, Matt. In an update tonight, we're learning more about how a scammer apparently stole some $6.5 million from the city of Portland. We first brought you the story's breaking news last night at 11. Tonight, Devin Haskins takes a closer look.
This lawsuit filed in New York City details how someone was able to get City of Portland employees to send $6.7 million to the wrong account. The money was a payment for work related to the Bull Run water filtration project, but instead of going to the legitimate contractor, a scammer used a fake email to trick city employees into sending the money somewhere else.
It is so common. It is happening everywhere. This is not just the city of Portland. This is all over the country, all over the world. People are losing billions of dollars to this.
Carrie Tomlinson is the editor-in-chief of Ampix News, an independent outlet that covers cyber crimes.
Cities everywhere are falling for this.
The scammer claimed to be with a company hired by the city to manage the project.
And they do reconnaissance, and they will look for information. For example, what kind of business deals is the city of Portland doing? Where is a spot where I can slip myself in and do some damage?
The lawsuit says that between February and March, the scammer sent multiple emails to city employees asking that a change be made to bank account information for a city contractor. On one occasion, the city sent a link which essentially worked like a password reset link, allowing the scammer to access the legitimate account and make the changes themselves. On March 21st, the city sent a payment for $6,748,680.68. And days later, the account was flagged for fraud, and that's when the city tried to get the money back.
And although there are checks and balances, it is easy to manipulate people into changing the account number to something that the scammers can access.
It's unclear if the city is making any changes to its security protocols in light of this. The mayor's office sent us a statement that reads in part, "The city of Portland is committed to safeguarding public funds. We're grateful for the fast action of local and federal law enforcement to stop the fraudulent transfer before it landed in the wrong hands." As for the money, the U.S. Marshals Service has it currently before it returns it to the city. And as far as we're aware, no arrests have been made so far. In downtown Portland, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.
Right now on KGW Plus, a brand new KGW exclusive. 40 years after the collapse of one of history's most controversial spiritual movements, we're hearing the untold story of what happened to some of the children at the Rajneesh commune in Central Oregon, led by the Indian guru Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. Netflix rekindled curiosity in the Rajneeshis with its documentary series, Wild Wild Country, though a woman who lived there as a child says the historical record has missed an important chapter. Cerrito Carroll has now written a memoir. It's called In the Shadow of Enlightenment, in which she gives her account of the sexual abuse, exploitation, and neglect she says she endured at Rajneesh Puram. She sat down with Laura Porter and explained why she chose, after 40 years, to break her silence.
It's taken me 40 years because it was a lot of trauma to process and a lot of fear that held me back. And it's not that I haven't thought about it for these 4 years. In fact, it's been a big theme of my life. And it's sort of kept its tentacles on me. And I think it's taken me 40 years to find the courage to say, this is who I am.
40 years to find the courage.
Wow.
Laurel also accompanied Carol as she revisited what remains of the commune for the first time since 1985. You can watch Inside the Rajneesh, Cerrito Carroll's untold story, along with Laurel's full interview with her and KGW specials from the mid-'80s on the rise and fall of Rajneesh Puram. It's all available right now on our TV streaming app, that is KGW Plus.